Hey everybody, it's Mike over here from Growtopia. I got a little cool update, right? So I'm about 14 miles out from a trail that I'm heading out to right now with the Chevy truck. So we just got the tires on it. And what can I say so far? So to debunk a lot of people that were saying negative stuff, saying like, you know, they're going to be loud, they're going to be noisy, they're going to be rough, you're going to get city gas mileage. I've been getting 20 miles to the gallon doing 70, 75 with these tires on. Now, I talked to my mechanic about the vibration I was feeling out of the right side of the truck doing like 80 to 90 miles an hour for more than like 5 seconds under acceleration and not under acceleration. And I said to him, I was like, hey, I had one accusation that it was because I drove down a gravel road. And he started laughing. He's like, that would not do anything to the tire. But what is wrong with that one of your tires, your passenger side tire, is that your passenger side front tire is having some issues. And the tire was actually, for some weird reason, it was at a higher PSI than the rest of the tires. So it was worn out, definitely like a little bit more than the rest of the other tires. And on those tires that I had, those Firestones, there was like these little rib sections in between the tread blocks. And what that was basically the dummy notification like, hey, you know, your tire is low on tread. Okay, so that was two-wheel drive, and I had absolutely zero problems. And it's going to be hard to find a spot here. But yeah, I'm out on a farm right now, screwing around. And I got the permission to do so. So yeah, you can see I'm in two-wheel drive. And I'm at 18.8 miles per gallon, only 45 miles on the tires. Didn't really rain a lot last night, so it's hard to get some like real mudding in. But that's a spot sometimes that's hard in a fuel truck. That was pretty good. So let's see if I find something else. In two-wheel drive, doing some off-road testing, tire testing here. I'm literally trying to get stuck in two-wheel drive, and just yet it seems not to happen. Oh, here we go. This looks nice right here. We're gonna hit it closer on this side. Fucking walk through that. It looks like that's gonna really wrap it up. I cannot get this thing stuck. It's always been a problem with this truck too. I can never get it stuck. I can try. Like I've sat in the mud and then just take off and it just crawls away. Like here's a nice mud hole here. Like here we go. We got some uneven ground. Grab it from this side. Back tires in it. And pulls right out. Can't find anything to get stuck. Did bottom out. That's as much as I could do. Alright. Well, test is over. Until I could find something really heavy. Alright, as I finished my test after going through some mud, some trails, some grass, and now I'm on a gravel dirt road, I would have to give these tires a 10 out of 10. The road comfort on them is very nice. Right now I'm on a trail, bouncing around through it, doing about 20. I got some sand over here. I'm still in two-wheel drive. I absolutely have not got stuck. I can't get it to get stuck. I could get it to break loose on the dirt, of course, but to get broken loose on the road, can't. Now we have a little sand and mud on the tires. We have traction control off. We're at a dead stop, windows down. Let's see if we can get the tires to bark. And we're at 50. So, no braking loose. Nope. With traction control off, in two-wheel drive, cannot get the truck to brake loose. I was also on some very smooth asphalt that was wet. I did the same thing, traction control off. I was at a dead stop, hit the accelerator, and nothing. Oh, I did hear the wheels squeal. That's because I was making a turn too as I was accelerating hard. But yeah, no, I'm getting great fuel mileage. I'm getting the same 20 miles to the gallon. They're very nice, rolling resistant as well, I've noticed. What else? They're running at 37 PSI all the way around. They're comfortable on the road. They're as comfortable or more comfortable than the Firestones, but they do have their major differences. So with these tires, because they're got a little bit more tread on them, they're a little bit more tread blocky, for a better lack of words. I do feel when I'm driving a subtle vibration, and that's only because of the tread. That has nothing to do with anything else. So there is like a very slight vibration compared to the Destination Firestones that were a smooth tread. These have different size tread blocks, but not to the point where it's extremely noticeable. And then as well, on the other factor too, is that like the road noise. So these things virtually sound just like the Firestones. If it wasn't for that like subtle vibration, I wouldn't know anything. I would just think they're Firestone tires that are on here. There's absolutely no going down the road, which is great. As you can hear, it's quiet. The other thing I noticed with them is that they are a little rougher when it comes to like uneven road, like, you know, pothole fill-ins and stuff like that, you know, like the bumps after a pothole and different like cracks and crevices there. I can feel a little bit more of the road in that. Like here's this one here, but like that's almost no difference than the Destinations. But the real difference and the real for the road feel is that the Destinations I was running at 34 PSI, so the tires were a lot softer. There was also a lot less tread on them too, and the difference between the road and the sidewalls wasn't really that much because it was like very little tread left on the tire. So it ran, ironically, still smooth, but that's also because they had a lot less air pressure in it. These things have a lot more bigger tread blocks on them. It's a lot deeper, so there's a lot more rubber between the road and the sidewall sections of the tire. And like the other ones, the tires are almost sometimes riding on the sidewalls, just like right outside of it. This is like they're not even near the sidewall at all. And like I also said, that there's also more air pressure in the tires, so they're a little bit harder, which is fine. I have no problem with that. You get, you know, better gas mileage, you know, when it's filled up to the proper amount versus running low. I normally run my tires low, especially through the winter, because it does aid with dealing with snow and slush. And I usually keep them at a happy, you know, medium, so that I don't have to put air pressure in them to go down the road. Now, here's a perfect example. I had to hit the brakes hard because some asshole doesn't know what their turn signal is, and they just want to come to a dead stop. But I have great braking. The tires stop right away. They grip the road. There's none of that loss of grip to the road because I had to hit the brakes hard, and the tires have a little bit of mud, little sand, little gravel on them. So I lost zero traction trying to stop quick because people don't know what the little flashy thingy is on the left side of their steering wheel, or a little arm that goes up and down. They think it's just there to like hold on to, I guess. Let's see, what else could I say? Definitely great around cornering. I didn't lose any steering radius. I have the same steering radius, maybe even a little better. It's hard to kind of tell. I'm still able to turn around really sharp in this truck. You know, I didn't change the size of the tire. The tire is the same size. The only thing that comes down, the difference of it, is a tire makeup. These are 3-ply construction versus a 1-ply tire. They're also, you know, they're all terrains. They're literally meant to go anywhere and do anything that I want to do, knowing that I can also go to work and I can travel from place to place on the road. I can take long road trips with these tires. These tires also, I can put a lot more payload in the truck. That was the other problem with the destinations, was I exceeded the payload capacity of the tires for about like 5 or 6 months, running heavy loads of firewood in the truck. So that really wore the tires out a lot. I could do that now with this truck and not have a problem at all, and know that the tires can handle the payload amount. Because these are E-rated tires instead of the A-rated tires. So these are a lot better by far. They're further down the line of the standard. Hence the 3-ply construction on the sidewalls. After that, you know, braking, turning, I was going through some windy road where there was leaves and pine needles on the wet road. I never lost traction at all. And I was pushing it past the speed limit. Instead of doing 20 around the corner, I was doing 40 around the corner. Never lost traction at all. Never felt like I was going to lose control. I wouldn't say that's something that everybody should do. You should, when you put tires on your vehicle, you should really know your power to weight ratio. And with this truck is like very similar to like a Wrangler, where it's got a good amount of power, but the vehicle's light. So I get away with a lot of murder in this truck because the truck is so light with the engine that's in it, running a 5.3. Doesn't sound like a big V8, but it's enough to get this truck up and down the road quickly without any problems. I've never had any issues. I can take off really quick. I can maneuver around stuff quick. I love that the power is right there. And like I said, because this truck is light, it just basically, I float down the road with a lot of power for it. So it's a nice, smooth riding truck. It's very comfortable, very fuel efficient. You know, and even then, like, I can go on another long drive with these tires and I'm not going to feel like, you know, I'm losing my mind. Like I said, the vibration on here is very subtle, and that's just because of the tread blocks. If I went for the Firestones again, I wouldn't have that subtle vibration. So speaking of vibration, so I asked my mechanic, hey, you know, I had this vibration that was coming out of the right side of my truck. I knew it was coming from the right side because I could feel it coming from the right side. You know, what could that be? So he gave a list of different things. So he said, well, one of the things is probably a mix-up between your tires, and you probably lost a wheel weight. So I said, well, the $90 million question, because most people said, oh, well, it's the way you drive, it's the dirt road that you're on, you know, you went down a gravel road, that's how you fucked up your truck. And I'm like, no, I had that vibration going on from 80 to 90 miles an hour, you know, 1,600 miles prior. And he was saying, well, he says, you know, most likely it was a wheel weight. He goes with all the bumps and shit on the island, the potholes, and the uneven surfaces, the railroad crossings, etc., etc. Plus, also, my front right passenger side tire was worn down pretty decent versus all the other ones. And in between the tread blocks on that tire was these little like ribs that went across. That's basically like, you know, kind of like the same thing that would be on your brakes to let you know, like, hey, you know, like the metal, the squeaking on your brakes, letting you know, hey, you know, buddy, it's time to change your brakes. Well, on those tires, they had that rib section. Well, as you're going faster with tires that are deflated, they eventually start to kind of squish upward. You know, they start squishing upward. So when I was doing, you know, they're at 33 PSI, you know, once I was doing like 80, 90, you know, I would notice my tires would be sitting around like 40, 45 PSI. So there was more air pressure in them. The faster they're running, the warmer they were getting. So because when I was doing that speed, I told them, I was like, yeah, I would notice my tire pressure would go up on the side of the truck, or all of them would go up, but I would notice this vibration, and it was very noticeable, a lot more severe than just the subtle tread block vibration that I have now. And it's very, very subtle, very subtle. You know, you only really notice it when, you know, you're going down the road, but once you get used to it, you're not going to notice it anymore. I noticed it in the first 10 miles. I was like, oh, I I felt this before, but it's like very subtle to the mud trains I had one on my other truck. My other truck, it felt like I was driving on rumble strips everywhere I went, no matter how fast I was going. It was worse when I was going slower. It would feel like rolling up to a letter, like don't going down the road. I don't feel that with this, because it's a nice uniform tire versus those big mud tires I had. You really felt the treads when you were rolling slow. Trying to think everything I can think of before I end this video. But I would definitely suggest these tires to anybody. They are Nexen, N-E-X-E-N, Roadian ATX tires. They're an all-around. They're a class 3 winter tire, which is definitely what I need here in New York when we get some snow. There'll definitely be some more video. Maybe I'll find a mud trail somewhere where I can actually like try to get this thing stuck in two-wheel drive and then get myself out in 4 without the use of winches or ropes or straps or etc, etc. Other than that, that wraps up the testing for it. And I definitely say, you know, anybody who's out there looking for a tire that's very affordable is $179 a tire. They are 265 65 18s, which is the tire that's meant to be on this truck. So it's perfect, nice match. It gives the truck like a nice aggressive look to it, or at least, you know, the tires have like a nice aggressive look. There's 2 different sidewalls that are on the tire. There's a clean, smooth look with the tread blocks on the sidewalls, and then there's an aggressive sidewall that's got like this like a lizard type of scale that's on the sidewall section amongst the sidewall blocks. And I like the look of that, so I had my mechanic make sure when they mounted the tires that they put that on the outside, because I like the look of it. I like that scaly looking look, and it's cool. You could go rock crawling with these tires, you can go mudding, you can go down dirt trails, you can go through sand, snow, you can do slush, you can do rain. And the cool thing with these tires, one more thing before I wrap this video up, is that as these tires wear, they actually get better road contact and gripness. So the tires actually get grippier as they wear out versus the Firestones. You know, I was like, if I took traction control off like I am now, and I got to take off from a light, like hitting the gas hard, going straight when it was wet out, those tires are squealing down the road. These things, yes, they're new and only about 40,000 miles into them. I'll let you know once I can finally break loose on what that is, if I can remember the mileage by then. Actually, yeah, I got it written down. You know, we'll finally figure out what it takes to break these tires loose. But other than that, guys, this is Mike from Growtopia. Just an update on these tires that I got. I'm loving them. I give them a 10 out of 10. Probably the best tires I've ever had. I've had all kinds of tires. I've had BF Goodrich, I've had Bridgestone, I've had Coopers, I have Continentals, I had Nitto tires, Yokohama tires, Firestones. What was another one I had? It was another like an off-roady tire. I can't think of it right now in my head. I've had those as well. If I could remember it in the next like 10 seconds here. But anyway, guys, that's it. Like, subscribe, share it with your friends and family. Go out there and do something fun, do something crazy. I know it may not be
nothing about it, so pull me some strong. Life some strange, round here we still broke, and ain't much change.
Alright, so we're doing 80 miles an hour right now with the traction control off or on. It didn't make a difference. And I have 0 vibration coming out of the truck like I did. So, other than the subtle tire vibration, that vibration that I was feeling was like that, like it was very noticeable. I don't notice anything at all. I'm doing 80, 85 right now, 0 vibration. Got to call my mechanic, let him know, because he was asking me. He's like, hey, you know, safely without getting a speeding ticket, get up to 80, 85, 90. You know, run it for like you did, where you said, and he was like, when did you notice it? I was like, I noticed it as soon as I touched 80. You know, so I took my foot off the accelerator, still doing 85, 0 vibration other than the subtlety from the tire. Going to knock it back down to a non-speeding ticket safe limit, but just let you guys know that was the fix. It was definitely the tires. Alright, one more thing to add. I didn't think of it until just now. So when I would change lanes with the tires, I felt the groove between the lanes. I didn't fucking feel nothing. I go from lane to lane, I don't feel a fucking groove. in the road. I just let it feels like the truck just tippy toes right over it, doesn't even touch the crack. So I ain't breaking my back. So all said and done, to wrap up the video is, so we had a coolant flush, did the full coolant flush on the truck, checked the tranny fluid. The tranny fluid's good, still got plenty of life on it. There's nothing wrong with the tranny. We had the engine oil done, new tires put on it. The whole chassis was re-lubricated, everything still looked good. Of course, my mechanic did find a little bit of Moab dust under my truck. At least his guy did. His guy was like, what's this? And he's like, oh, Mike went on a road trip. He probably got a little off-road one night. I was like, yeah, had a little fun in Moab, went down a little dirt road and stuff. So I did collect a little bit of Moab dust, a little of that orange dust under the truck. But hey, you know what? It was a road trip of a lifetime. I have to have fun. I don't care what anybody says. It's my life. I do me. I go do what I want. I got these tires. I'm loving it, man. These things are fucking great. Fucking just tippy toe through the lanes. Don't feel shit. No hard vibration anymore. Man, I'm ready for another road trip with these tires. See how good they are. Later. That's it. Hope everybody enjoyed.